Hello everyone, this is Dr. Sunita Bulla. In this session, we are going to discuss about GitHub Actions for CI/CD or Git Actions for CI/CD. To learn Git Actions, simply go through the official document. So this is official document. Go to the GitHub Documents website docs.github.com and redirect to the GitHub Actions. As per the official website, GitHub Actions definition is it is a continuous integration and continuous delivery platform. This platform is used to implement, build, test and deployment. Alright. So first of all, continuous integration. So what is meant by continuous integration? In the Git Actions, continuous integration operations are building of the project and testing of the project. Building and testing. Next, continuous deployment. Continuous deployment operations are deployment. Now, by using these Git actions, we are going to implement automated building, automated testing, that is a continuous integration, and automated deployment, that is continuous deployment. By using this Git Action platform, we are going to implement continuous integration, continuous deployment. Where we are going to implement this continuous integration and continuous deployment? This implementation especially for the GitHub repositories. So now, by using the Git actions, we are going to implement CI/CD for our GitHub repositories. For example, if you have any repository in your GitHub account, now for example, first tab. So this is a first tab. If we want to implement CI/CD for this first tab, so now by using the Git actions, we can able to implement CI/CD for this GitHub repository. Next, we will implement CI/CD in a Git Action platform using workflows. Here, workflows are very important terminology. Workflow templates. What is a workflow template? It is a YAML file. It is a YAML file. This YAML file has events and actions. Right? So now, as per our general terminologies, what is a Git actions? Git action is nothing but this is a platform or tool to implement CI/CD for your GitHub repository using workflow template. So in this workflow template, we are going to implement events and actions. So whatever we are declared in event actions, these events and actions are going to apply for our GitHub repository. Types of workflow templates. As per the official document, there are different types of workflow templates are there. Continuous integration workflows, deployment workflows, automating workflows, code scanning workflows, pages workflows. So based on your requirement, we will use workflow templates. If you are seeking for continuous integration, we will use continuous integration workflow. If we are seeking for deployment, then we will use deployment workflows. Similarly, automating workflows, code scanning workflows, pages workflows. Now, here, where to create workflows. Where we will create these workflows? I already told you. Now these workflows are we are going to create inside the GitHub repository, right? Inside the GitHub repository, we are going to create these workflows. Now these workflows in a repository where we are going to create. It's depending on the project. For example, if you're working on a React project, if you are working on a React project, simply go to the project root directory. In the project root directory, uh, where is a set, where is a package.json located? Where is the package.json located? Right? Just go to the project directory and go to the root path, root directory, and in the root directory where is the package.json located. In this root directory, simply create dot github .github folder. In the .github folder, create one more folder. Folder name is workflows. Within the workflows directory, create AML file, Git Actions file. For example, ci.aml. Now, if you are seeking for continuous integration for your React project, simply create a ci.aml. Or if you are going to work with the continuous deployment, create a continuous deployment workflow. If you want to implement CI/CD in the same file implement cicd.aml file. Next, if you are work on a Python project, if you are working on a Python project, Python, Flask or Django. If you are working on a Flask or Django project, simply go to the root directory where settings.py located. So go to the root directory, simply create path, YAML file path. What is the YAML file path here? GitHub workflows. If you are working on a Spring Boot project, if you are working on Spring Boot project, go to the root directory where pom.xml located. Now we know where to create this YAML file, workflow template. Now how to create this template? There are two ways to create a template. First one, by using manual workflows. Second one, by using GitHub marketplace workflows. So manual workflows we will implement in our local system. This marketplace workflows we will create directly in a GitHub repository. There are two ways. One is a manual workflow, second one is a GitHub marketplace workflows. Now before going to discuss about manual and marketplace workflows, so what is the syntax of workflow? We already know workflow template is nothing but it is a simple YAML file. This YAML file starts with the name. It should start with the name. You can use any name. Then next parameter is on. In a on, we are going to declare events. Events are nothing but when this workflow template has to be executed. For example, if I implemented continuous integration workflow for this project directory, when it has to start, when it has to trigger. Now these events are starts. What are the events here? Events are push or pull events. Where push or pull events? In your project directory having main branch, the main branch having any push or pull events, then your continuous integration template going to start, going to execute and going to start building and testing of your project. Next one, jobs. So now these jobs are used to declare workflow of actions. We are saying this ci.aml file going to implement continuous integration of GitHub repository. What is meant by continuous integration? Continuous integration is nothing but building and testing. Continuous integration is nothing but building and testing. This building and testing is automated when your changes are uploaded in your GitHub repository. So now to implement this one, to implement this workflow actions, first of all, continuous integration. Continuous integration means building and testing of your GitHub repository. To do this task, this particular AML file needs one environment, virtual environment. It needs one server. That server has to download our GitHub repository into server. Then it has to install all required softwares into that particular server, and it has to perform whatever actions, whatever commands need to be executed to perform building and testing, right? For example, here what is a workflow action? To implement CI, we need first one server with operating system. One server with operating system. In that operating system, we need one space like a C drive, D drive, or folder. We need one space. That in the folder, we it has to download what are the project inside the GitHub repository. That is called repository space. We can call it as a v4. Generally, like a v4 is nothing but some virtual space inside the server. Okay, some location in the C drive or D drive, like a some location. Now after downloading the project into that location, next step, what is the next step here? For example, if it is a React project, it has to install the node. If it is a Spring Boot project, it has to install the Java. Like that, installation of basic softwares, like a installation of basic softwares. So node install, let's say for example, node installed. That after installing the node, it has to execute the project. So we already know how to run the React project. To run the React project, first command is install, to install all the dependencies. By using npm install, we will implement all the dependencies. Install all dependencies. After installing all the dependencies, now my main target is building and testing. Now execute the command for building. What is the React project building command? npm run build. Next task, testing. To test the React project, what is the command? npm test. So now this is called continuous integration. So now building and testing automatically performing for our GitHub repository when changes are triggered into the repository. So now see, this is a simple syntax of workflow. Here main keywords are name, on, jobs, right? Now here these are the workflow steps, right? All these steps we will write under the command of steps. Under the steps, each step, for example, it has a, this is one step, second step, third step, fourth step, fifth step and sixth step. The steps we will declare under the name and uses. Name is used to action name, uses are used for command. All these are we will declare under names and command. So this is a simple syntax of continuous integration workflow template. Let's see the examples of workflow template. Now let's discuss Git action terminologies. Workflow is nothing but YAML file. Job is nothing but it is a set of actions. Steps are we will write inside. Steps are nothing but this is the workflow steps. Runner, I mean we'll see these keywords when you are writing CI template. Actions, name is nothing but workflow name, on is nothing but here events, push or pull, schedule like a different events are there. Jobs are nothing but action, whatever sequential actions. These are the simple terminologies. Next, let's see basic template of continuous integration. What is the basic template here? It starts with a name. After the name, on parameters. Then inside the on, two events declared. One is a push event and second one is a pull event. When this workflow will starts the integration, when branches, main branch having push event, main branch having pull event, the workflow automatically generate the trigger to implement the continuous integration. I mean building and testing of the project automatically. Next one, jobs. Jobs are nothing but here these jobs are sequential steps. Now here these especially this integration template, continuous integration template especially used for building of your project. Now to do the building, it runs on Ubuntu operating system. In the Ubuntu operating system, first it has to specify some repository space. It occupies the one repository. After taking the repository, it install Node software to run the React project. After installing the Node project, which Node version it installing? 28th version it installing. So now your project setup is completed. Then after successful completion of the project setup, it automatically run the command npm install and npm test. Right? It is a simple YAML file, at the same time continuous integration template. Now let's start the experiment, then only we'll get idea. Skill 3 experiment related to the CI/CD using Git Actions or GitHub Actions. To implement CI/CD, we are going to take one React project. Now we can get the clear picture what is the CI/CD, how it is going to execute. To do this experiment, we have to follow these steps. Step 1, first create React project. VS Code, I'm going to use VS Code to create React project. Next step, validate whatever operations related to the continuous integration and the continuous deployment related operations. First locally, build, test, deploy locally. If it is running successfully in a local system, then it will automatically executed in a GitHub repository also. Third one, create Git action workflow for applying CI/CD automation for our repository. Finally, push React project into GitHub for to see the output. What is output here? CI/CD. Why? Because we need to push this project into React project into GitHub, because this Git action workflows especially work for our GitHub repository. So now open VS Code to create React project. Now see here what is the exact workflow for Git Actions. This is a GitHub repository. Let's assume Git GitHub repository. Next, in the GitHub repository, to apply the CI/CD, we are going to implement CI/CD workflow. As a developer, we will push project into GitHub repository. Then when I push the project into GitHub repository, the GitHub having Git action environment. The GitHub having Git action environment. That Git action environment identifies your AML file. So how it is identifies your AML file? First, it checks your GitHub repository. Let's see. This is a GitHub repository. The GitHub repository having, so see here, Git Actions workflow dot GitHub slash workflow. When the project, this particular directory is identified by the GitHub. So what is the meaning of this one? It is a Git action file. This GitHub environment automatically identifies this directory, and it will execute your AML static.aml file for applying CI/CD. When your GitHub repository located Git Actions file, it will apply CI/CD for your project. If it is successfully completed, then we can see output at the production level. When it will start, for example, a day 1. First of all, this developer pushed the project into GitHub. It performed the CI/CD because you wrote a workflows for your GitHub repository. It applies the CI/CD and release the repository into production level. It deploys application in a production level. Right? Now, what is the task of these Git Actions? CI/CD workflow. When your repository has the changes, it identifies, it will automatically perform CI/CD. CI/CD means building, testing and deployment. It automatically perform the CI/CD and push the changes into production environment. So these changes will reflect to the end user. Whatever changes, The changes will reflect to the end user without any human interaction. Simply what developer will do, so after some time, after 1 hour, for example, the developer did some modifications on the project, and the developer pushed modifications into GitHub repository. Now immediately Git action workflow identifies the changes in a Git repository. It performs the CI/CD operations, and whatever code, updated code, push into the production level. Immediately it will reflect into the user. This is the task of Git actions. So what is that Git action? Git action is nothing but it is a CI/CD platform. It is a mediator between your GitHub repository to production level environment. So any code changes are occur in your repository. Those changes automatically tested by the Git action workflows and release the changes into the production environment for a end user purpose. Now just open one directory to create a React project. Now we are going to execute step 1. It is a React project creation is a step 1. I am going to select workflows as a directory. Now here create React project, simple React project. Take a terminal, new terminal. In the terminal, command prompt is a preferred one. What are the commands to create a React project? npm create beat at latest. Project name is React CI/CD. Project name is React CI/CD. It takes a 1 minute of time. Now here select React as a select this React as a framework. Next one variant as JavaScript plus SWC as a variant. Now project created successfully. These are the commands we should run for to see the output. Now see here, apply these commands. npm install, it install project directory to see the output. Okay, npm run dev. npm run dev is a command to deploy your application locally. Okay, now what is the command to deployment purpose? This is the command we will use it for local server deployment, right? So this command is used for local deployment. Project created successfully. Now run the command npm run dev. Project deployed successfully in a local system. Click on the link. We can see output, right? This is the output. Now our project we can deploy in a production level also, no issue. Next one, stop the server. Next, what is the next step? Step 1 created successfully. Go to the step 2. What is the step 2? Validate, building, testing, deployment. Now for the building purpose, to build the React project, what is the command? npm run build. Testing purpose, what is the command? npm test. Deployment purpose, what is the command? npm run dev. These are the commands we are using for building, testing and deployment in our local system. These three commands executed successfully in your local system. We will automate these three commands for a continuous integration and continuous deployment. Now test npm run build. So see here, npm run build works successfully. Your project is ready for production. Okay. Next one, npm test. So our project don't have any test cases, like I didn't wrote any test cases related code. So that's why it giving error. Type hyphen if present, test case present only. So no test cases are present, it executed successfully. Right? Now your project is ready for continuous integration and continuous deployment. Now we can deploy we can implement continuous integration and continuous deployment. For clarity purpose, this directory showing multiple projects. I will directly open this project directory. So this is the project directory. Now in this session, we are going to applying CI/CD Git Actions using manual workflows. This entire procedure for to implement manual workflows. First, we will learn manual workflows. Later, we'll discuss how to use the marketplace workflows. Right? Now, next, this is the project. Now, here to implement manual workflows, what we have to do? We need to create Git action workflows for our project directory to implement CI/CD. Come here in the project directory. I want to create a workflow where I can create this workflow as per our discussion. If it is a React project, in the root directory, where is the package.json located? In this locations, we have to create this particular file. Now we are concentrating on continuous integration. First we will see the continuous integration. Later we will learn continuous deployment. First we will see continuous integration. Now here in the root directory, first create a folder dot github. Inside the dot github, create one more folder, workflows. Inside the workflows, create a file. File name is react ci dot aml file. So see here, this is a react ci aml file. Here we have to write script file. What is a script? What is a script file here? The script is a we are going to implement script for continuous integration. We already know what is a continuous integration script, right? If I type line by line, it takes a lot of time. So that's the reason I have already template. This is the template. I'm going to explain this one. Later we will use. Now this template code name is a React CI. Next, it has a two events. One is a push event and pull event. When your GitHub repository happen push event, when your GitHub repository having pull event, this file has to start. Then in this continuous integration template, we are going to implement building and testing for your project. This building and testing run on Ubuntu operating system. In the Ubuntu operating system, first of all it created one folder, one repository. Repository name is v4, and in the v4 location, it installed the node software. So right, it's a name and it is a command. Nodes of it installed the node software, and node software also in a 18th version. 18th version of node software. And first one, before going to implement the continuous integration, we will use the npm ci. Npm is ci is nothing but all the dependencies related to the continuous integration, all will download to the project directory, that is npm ci. Next one, in a project, install all dependencies, all the dependencies related to the uh, this one npm install. Next one npm run test. Finally, build project. So this is a simple continuous integration template. Copy this template, paste here. Now template completed. Save this file. Save this file. Now our project is ready. Okay. How to check continuous integration for this project? Okay. Project is ready. Where we have to see output. To see the output for this project, how the continuous integration is working. First of all, we need to push this particular project into GitHub. Why? Because the Git actions are uh, used to implement continuous integration or continuous deployment for GitHub repositories only. We cannot see output in your local system. We cannot see output in another way. We can see output in a GitHub uh, GitHub page only. Now first, to push this particular project into GitHub repository. For this purpose, open GitHub repository. We need to create one repository. Repository name should be React CI/CD. Now click on new repository. React CI/CD. Project name is React. Repository name is React CI/CD. Click on create repository. Now repository created. We want to push entire project into GitHub, right? So every time first command is git init. It is the first command. Second command git add. I want to push entire project. So now git add dot use the command git add dot entire project entered into the staging area. Next command commit the changes. It will move to local repository. Then after create a main branch. Next add the origin. Next push the changes into main. Now whatever our React project uploaded. Refresh. Now React project uploaded. This is the GitHub workflow. Now how to see the output. How it performing continuous integration for this React project. Right? Now in your go to the project menu, repository menu. So this is the repository menu. Click on actions. Click on actions. These Git actions automatically identifies this GitHub workflows folder. Click on Git actions. Now see here workflow running. Actually workflow failed. Click on workflow. Building a project failed. Let's see when you run the command npm run build in your local system, it executed successfully. But when coming to the git repository, now it giving the error. So right, don't be panic, just go to the error. Could not wait dot wait dot svg file. So right, our project having the error. Now open app.jsx. In the app.jsx there is a beat logo, beat.svg file. So there is a no such file, right? Beat.svg file having in the public folder. This public folder is not identified by the GitHub repository. So now what we'll do, I'll remove beat logo. I will remove this line. I'm not working on a code. Simply I will remove where error generated. Copy this one. Where is a beat logo? Instead of beat logo, I'm using React logo. Right? I'm using React logo. Just save this file, save app.jsx, save this file. Now commit these changes into Git repository. Right, see here, this is the way we can apply continuous integration. Now this is the GitHub repository. When I push the React CI/CD into the GitHub repository, the Git Actions automatically perform the continuous integration. It generated error. We no need to worry anything. This will automatically run all the commands. Whatever commands we will implemented inside the YAML file, all commands are automatically executing. Now push the next changes. Okay. In the YAML file, what we did, what are the event? When you push the changes, when you pull the changes, the continuous integration again going to start. Now we did updations in app.jsx. Type add git add space dot push, commit the changes, push the changes. When you push the changes into the GitHub repository, what happens? Again, this YAML file going to execute. See here, one more operations, one more continuous integration task going to generate. Now see here, our continuous integration completed successfully. It created a setup. Setup means operator Ubuntu operating system environment. Created repository, created Node.js, implemented CI, installed all the dependencies. Now it run all the test cases. It built the project successfully, and finally it's ready for production environment. The job completed. Now see here, everything is automated. I didn't We didn't do anything here. Just I wrote one YAML file. I wrote one YAML file here. That YAML file automates my continuous integration operations for my GitHub repository. Now, as a developer, I want to test this continuous integration with a multiple operating systems. For example, see here this continuous integration file for Ubuntu operating system only. I want to run this particular continuous integration testing for Windows operating system only. Now here, um, just use the matrix for OS matrix. Simply do the OS matrix. In the OS matrix, we will use Ubuntu, Ubuntu latest, and Windows. Ubuntu latest and Windows latest. This matrix declare here. To declare the matrix, use the dollar symbol within the curly braces. Use matrix.os. So this is the script file, very case sensitive file. Now it didn't allow single space mistake also. We need to type carefully, case sensitive at the same time. It follow the indentation also. Now changes are happen in the continuous integration file. Simply execute. Now add the file. Next commit the changes. Push the project. Now see here, this is the continuous integration going to execute for Ubuntu and Windows. Again refresh. Go to the Git Actions again. Now see here, when I changes the push in when I push the changes into Git repository, again it going to execute. Now see here, it is building and testing for the Ubuntu environment, building and testing for the Windows environment. Right? Whatever my project continuously, testing with the Ubuntu and at the same time Windows operating system also. Now not only operating systems, I want to check with multiple node versions, right? Now it is only 18th node version. I want to check with all node versions, like here create a matrix node hyphen versions 18, 19th version. Indentations we should follow carefully. 20th version. Now here under use the matrix. Where we have to do here only. Under the node versions, use dollar symbol within the curly braces. Just use matrix dot node versions. Again push the changes into Git repository. Add, commit, push. Changes are pushed into Git repository. Again refresh. Click on actions. Now see here again my integration, continuous integration going to execute. Why? Because recently I did a push event. Now see here, now it's checking with Ubuntu 18, Ubuntu with 19, Ubuntu with 20, Windows with 18, Windows with 19, Windows with 20. So now this is called continuous integration in a GitHub environment by using Git Actions. So all the continuous building and test cases are passed in a continuous integration. Now this project is ready. This repository is ready for production environment. This is the way we will create manual workflow for CI. Next one, manual workflow for CD. This is also same, manual workflow for CD. So first of all, deployment. Deployment is nothing but it has to deploy pages into any remote server. So up to now we are not using other technologies. We are not in Docker, we are not in Kubernetes, so we are not in any AWS cloud, Google cloud, Azure cloud. So that is the reason here for deployment purpose I am going to use Git pages. I am going to use Git pages. Git pages. To implement this one, first of all, we need to install these Git pages into our project directory. First, step 1, install Git pages. What is the command? npm install Git pages. Execute this command into our local directory. Now Git pages installed successfully. Second step, step 2, declare Git pages in a package.json. So now open package.json. Under the script, just under the script, enter script. Script name is pre-deploy. Before deploying, it has to pass npm run build. This is a mandatory condition. npm run. It has to be executed. Then deployment. Deploy Git pages. Where it has to deploy gh Git pages -d deployment dist. So now these two commands we need to declare inside the package.json script. Next, step 3, create cd.yaml file. Where we have to create the cd.yaml file? Under workflows, right? Now create a new file. File name is react cd dot react.cd.yaml file. So now I have already this file. Let's explain. So this cd file, similarly the same template Here we are going to add actions as a deployment. Now name, push event. Now here one more command we need to add permissions. For the deployment purpose we are going to write the content. So permissions equal content, write permissions. Then building and deployment, two actions we are declaring here. It's a testing on Ubuntu server and taking the repository, installing the Node.js 18, installing all the dependencies. It perform building and testing. Now finally I want to deploy my application into Git pages. So if you want to deploy application into Docker, you need to configure the Docker account. I want to deploy my application into uh, Git pages. So that is the reason I configured my GitHub account credentials here. Okay, Git configuration, username and password. Right. Next, this is the event. It's a predefined syntax. We no need to worry about that authentication purpose. So now we are in already in GitHub, our personal account. If you are using your personal account, you no need to worry about that. It has a Git action token. It automatically takes the Git actions token. Oh, you no need to worry. If you are using any office account or some other account, now it asks the authentication. If you are using your personal account, we no need to worry about that. So now it takes the authentication token. Then after that npm run deploy. This deployment will happen for in the Git. In a Git, after successful authentication, it use the command npm run deploy. This deployment happens in the Git pages. So this is the CD file. It's a we can say this file is not a CI/CD file. Here in this code we wrote continuous integration like npm CI, npm run build, npm test also we can include. Then after deployment, this file is an example of CI/CD. Both we can include it here. Now save this file, push this file into Git repository, copy this code and paste here. Push this file into Git repository. Simply add, commit, push. Now test Git Actions. Click on Git Actions. Now see here there are two running. One is for only executing CI file. This is for executing deployment. So this is for React CI. It is for deployment. Now click on this one. Deployment successfully completed. Click on this. Deployment completed. Just wait. It completed deployment. How to see the deployment? Where it is deployed? Give me a minute. To to see the deployment changes as output, first of all, now to see the output, okay. If you want to see the output, what we have to do, just go to the settings. Simply go to the settings under the actions, general, go to scroll down, workflow permissions. So now read and write permissions, save the file. Next, scroll down under the pages, deployment branch name is Git pages, root. These two settings we need to set for to see the output deployment happens or not. Now go to the actions, give the right permission, go to the pages. Now pages is a root. Okay. Now go to the Git actions. Oh no, save this one. Sorry. Save these changes under the pages, Git pages and root. Save. Now go to actions. Again, pages building and deployment. Right. Click on this one. Now see here. Deployment is going on. Git pages. Report building status is completed. Whatever our page deployed into the Git pages. Click on the page. Now see here it going to load Beat plus React project. Now we cannot see exact output here. There are many settings are there. To load this one, just for our uh, uh, visual purpose to see the output, we are clicking on that one. So still report building is going on. It has to uh, complete everything. It's going to execute our React project, right? It's not loading now. It's a complete project, unable to see. No issue, but our project is deployed successfully, right? So this is the way we can implement continuous integration and continuous deployment for our project. Simply uh, simply create a React project. After creating the React project, now first test all the uh, validations related to the continuous integration and deployment locally. After that, create Git action workflows, push your project into GitHub. We can see automatic changes, I mean automation for our project. This is the way we can implement continuous integration and continuous deployment. Finally, how to create marketplace workflows. How to create marketplace workflows. Right? These marketplace workflows we will create inside GitHub. Now see here my account having 4 repositories. For example, I want to implement CACD is a first step. Actually, it is not a project, it is a test file. Now, anyway, no issue. Now, I want to implement marketplace Git actions for marketplace workflows for this particular uh, repository. For this purpose, directly click on actions. In a marketplace, there are many templates are there. When you click on actions, we can see many templates like a deployment templates, security templates, continuous integration templates, automation templates. It's a predefined file. If you want to deploy your project into ECS, select this one. If you want to deploy project into GKA, select this one. If you want to secure your project, select this kind. If you want to implement continuous integration or just go through this one, like many templates are there based on your project. For example, React project, let's say it is a React project, simply search for node. Now see here there are no templates are there. Click on configure. It is a, let's assume it is a React project. Click on configure. So it gives automated code. Now see here we no need to write entire code. The code automatically code generated. Now click on commit changes. Now Git action workflow generated for first app. Right. So now for my repository, Git action workflow generated. If you want to see output, now see here it is failed. Why? Because it is not a React project. It cannot run continuous integration. So now it's not unable to install Node. Why? Because it is not a React project. So this is the way we will create marketplace workflows.